Okay, members and friends, I'm trying to stay positive here, but I'm crashing. I get these pulsations of panic attacks. You know, I get them before, but now I'm getting them every day, right? All the time. I'm working on Andre's room right now, rearranging books and everything. And all his games and whatnot. Having his mother accuse me that it's my fault that he got taken away because I wasn't listening to them. I should have just stayed quiet and did every single thing that they told me to do. And he'd still be here. That's what she's screaming at me right now. My dad is standing over there and we're talking about, you know, the definition of social services. What does that really mean in the context of what they get educated in terms of college and university? Same thing with these counselors. And the question is, you know, why, if my daughter's going to take something to school to sign that really is nothing political about it, you know, it's pretty straightforward, and teachers are saying, well, we can't sign it because it's too political. Well, what's that supposed to mean? We're talking about a child's life here. You know, a child that was ripped out of its family. Every single member just wiped off the planet of the earth in this child's mind. Nobody's offering anybody to go see. You know, girls aren't saying, well, would you want to go see the baby? You know, like nobody's approaching us to talk to him. Like these are monkey moms and monkey dads that are doing this. This kind of mentality. No immediate danger, but you're disrupting the plan. And so therefore we're going to take the baby out. I phoned one of my references today to tell him, you know, we're going to do something in the summertime with the kids, right? Take all this negative energy and kind of turn it into a more positive, you know, you got to stay focused with, the, you know, if the youth are stepping up to the plate for the baby, then, you know, the adults need to be there for the youth so they can take that negative energy and put it in a better direction. So I phoned him up and he was going to be a reference for me with one of the, you know, one of my mail-in references, right? And I asked him, did you get the paperwork yet? Was it mailed to you yet? He said, no. Well, it's been over a week. It doesn't take that long to put the envelope in the mail. So I don't even think they mailed it. When I handed it in, I don't think they had any intentions of mailing it. I said, you know, a couple weeks ago, you know, when I was on the phone with the woman, the social worker, they need new names, by the way. They're not social. There's nothing social about this. You know, this is military state tactics trying to, you know, bamboozle the masses while they brainwash the babies and destroy their language. But, you know, I was on the phone 3 weeks ago. People are telling me I need to go get a lawyer, and I'm busy, though. You know, I'm looking after the baby all day long. I'm switching rooms around. You know, I had to take out all my dad's wife's stuff out of her room and clean that room and bring my dad up and empty out that room and take that down and empty out another room, take that down, and then bring stuff up. So I've been pretty busy, right? On top of my every other day stuff that I do, right? So about 3 weeks ago or whatever it was, you know, I asked her. I said, what would happen if I took this to court for temporary custody? Only 6 months. Oh, well, if you do that, I'm taking him away. I said, excuse me? I'm only asking. And why would you take him away? Oh, well, you know, there's no question. There's nothing, no debate. I'm just going to take him away. You can't take it to court. Oh, there goes the phone again. Hold on. Anyway, as I was saying, okay, so I get threatened to have him taken away from me when I simply ask a simple question as, what would happen if I take it to court for temporary custody? Not because I'm trying to fight social services, because I'm not. It was just to put me in a better position to be able to stand up against my daughter in terms of, look, I have the custody, Sierra. You can't just run off with him. Oh, yeah, we're just going to take you to, we're not even going to take you to court. We're not even going to give you a chance. We're just going to come in and take him away. So I think that's maybe why my reference never received the information, because as soon as I asked her that question, she got up high on the horse, said that she would do this, and I think she went back to her supervisor, because another issue that I had was putting my grandson in full-time daycare. I'm not asking for, a reprieve or, a little time out here, because I'm fine. I mean, I'm tired. I'm always tired. That's given. But, he's too young for that. If I was a working mom with my, 2.2 kids, with the poodle on the side, with my garage as big as my old living space right here, and I had a huge mortgage to pay, and I had to keep up with the Joneses, then maybe I'd have my kid in daycare full time. But that's not my lifestyle, and just because those people, that's their lifestyle, doesn't mean that they need to force it on me or my grandchild. So I'm like, well, I'm in a room with the mediator and the supervisor, because I asked to see the supervisor, right? And one day I wanted to take my daughter downtown to go get methadone, because all the clinics out here were closed for the holidays. They insisted that I go see the supervisor, because she was going on on holidays, right? So the methadone never did come through. But anyway, besides that point, they insisted that, they needed to keep an eye on him. Okay, what have I been doing for since he's been born, 28 months? I've been doing the best I can with the conditions of 0. Well, my daughter's running around here. I'm the parent. I make the decisions. You don't know what you're talking about, Mom. To hell with you. My worker says it's okay that I do this, even though you say it's not. And I'm like, well, no, it's not a good idea to let the baby sit there and watch a horror movie with you, Sierra. Oh, but the worker says it's okay. He's too young to understand. I said, no, he's not too young. So there's just a lot of, it doesn't matter what I say. It's always the opposite. So I'm saying, well, I don't want him in full-time daycare. So I guess that, between that and the fact that I asked what would happen if, if I took it to court, because I'm tired of arguing with my daughter, they took the security check stuff with my dad, and myself, and my son. I handed it in the paper. He should have gotten by now. So they never did it. Like, he never got it. So they made this decision long before. I don't know how long it takes an application to fill out all the paperwork to come in there and swoop in and take a child and disappear with it. Like, we do realize that my grandchild has lost his Auntie Tisha, who was his most favorite. Auntie Tisha was almost more of a mummy than his own mummy sometimes. He loved Auntie Tisha. He lost his Auntie Shemay. He lost his Uncle Marcaine, who he was very, very happy with. He lost me. He lost all his pets, Boots, Princess, Elsie, Patches. No, sorry, Mickey, because, we had Patches, but she's gone. He lost his 4 cats as pets. Uncle John, Auntie Joan when she's around. But the main, caregivers, Auntie Tisha, Auntie Shemay, me, and Uncle Marcaine, and Uncle John. He lost them all. And he may very well be forgetting about us. And this is what these people want. They want him to forget. Because they're sure in the heck not outreaching and saying, well, would you like a visit with the child that's been in your home since he's been born, with the child that you've been looking after since he's been born? Because technically, we've only been in your house maybe 4 or 5 times since he's been born. But we have ownership of that child because some godforsaken government that wants to turn Canada into a military state and terrorize all its citizens into submission by coming into houses and looking for the smallest of the small. They don't help the teenagers. They coddle the elderly and they keep them alive because it benefits them in the end, because they're the next ones in line, right? But when it comes to the teenagers, they just screw them up and say, well, don't listen to your mom. Your mom is crazy. But come talk to me some more and try and give us some dirty laundry so that we can have a job tomorrow. Instead of go home, listen to your mom. You know, it's not easy being a parent. It's not easy being a kid, but that doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful. You should help. Your mom has a point. You know, life isn't free. You just can't go around and never do dishes and never sweep the floor and never do these things. But instead, what do? They come in the house and, oh, your mom's crazy. And then they wonder why the teens aren't listening. But that's the game plan, just like they did with this baby. They had no intentions of leaving the baby here. They had no intentions of working with the family. They forced the mother and the father on this family. And then they tried to force my daughter out of the house to go live on her own. And I'm trying to tell them, look, she's not capable of living on her own. She's just not. You put her in a place by herself, next thing you know, everybody, all these hood rats in the neighborhood that think they can walk all over her, they move in and it turns into a brothel. Why would I want my grandson in a freaking brothel? Because my daughter can't fight the evil in the society that's out there. And this evil that comes in and takes little babies, we don't know how to fight that either. So drop the word social services. There is nothing social about this. Absolutely nothing social. The only people who are socializing around this are the ones that are capitalizing off it, making good money, and enjoying the gossip in the office about what life they destroyed and how it empowers them to go out there and do it again and again and again with no repercussions. And then they get rewarded with outrageous pensions. And if they get sick, they get the first in line when it comes to health care. And again, they're mostly all white people. Because they're the only ones that can afford to really go to college. You know? And have a handle on things. Right? So they need their monkey babies. Because they're sure not doing this for a social reason. They're not doing this, what? Like, this is bullshit. You threaten me because I don't want him in daycare full time. You're going to take him away because I'm a grandma and I don't want him in full time. He needs to adjust to a new caregiver, not his mother. Threaten to take him away because I want to talk to a lawyer. And I thought I'd be fair and ask social services what they would do if I took it to court and asked for temporary custody. It didn't warrant them coming in here and taking him away. Now I got my daughter running around accusing me it's my fault. But then that's what social services want. They pit the family against the other, right? Now she's mad at me. Perfect. She won't make her appointments on time. It will be harder to work with her. Harder to get her to rehab. She's got to blame somebody, so she's going to blame me. She's going to go and, oh, my mom this, and oh, my mom. Well, they drivel and they drool over that shit. They like that. They want to hear that. Give them all the dirty laundry. What? Mom's setting up Andre's room. Mom's in denial now. Mom's having a nervous breakdown. She's living in a fantasy. The baby never existed. He was never born. It was something I manufactured in my brain. Like, this is cruel. They are punishing a child for their own gain while they continue to destroy my family's self-esteem. My children are devastated. And they are the ones who have been looking after him since he's been born. And what made us tired was dealing with the mom. Because she was combative. She had the empowerment through social services because they gave her the custody. They gave her to make all the choices, the right to make all the choices. They gave her the empowerment to be the bitch that she is. And we put up with it for the sake of the baby. And we were hoping she would get better. But she didn't. Now, did she? And now they took him because they want to blame us for their failures. When in fact, from the very beginning, they should have gave me custody, not had the father move in the house. I don't want to hear, oh, well, they're in love. Forget the fact that he was choking her. That's in the past. Forget the fact that he mutilated the household cat because we couldn't see it and we couldn't prove it. Forget the fact that he's got a rap sheet that's like 2 miles long with the police freaking station. None of that counts because they're in love. Oh, really? You didn't have to live with that, though. We did. You enabled that to happen, not us. We were there for the baby. You weren't. That's the thing. We were there for the baby. You weren't. And what gives you the right to come in 28 months later and then turn around and take the baby out and then sit up there and say, well, we're social. We're social. No, there is nothing, absolutely nothing social about this. This is evil. This is of an overextended power. This is a military fucking state. This is a concentration camp. This is Nazi Germany. This is the reprogramming of innocent children. And this is a rant. My family were white. And the only one that wasn't racist was my mother. But the rest of them, and including my cousins, because it's passed down from generation to generation to generation, they're all racist. Every last one of them. My aunts and uncles all had the good life, you know, kept up with the Joneses, lived in the big houses, had the pool tables in the basement with the big, you know, bar with the stools, and, you know, had their fancy dinners, and, you know, went on their fancy trips, and had good money, and, you know, had their kids, were the epitome of what was right in our society. But they hated my mom. She was the black sheep. You know, because she could communicate with anybody and everybody. And they didn't like me either. Because I didn't want to marry a white man. And now my little grandson is running around with some white man that is a complete stranger competing for attention because his family was ripped away from him by white people. There is absolutely nothing social about that.